The second race of the 2015 AARO Racing Series season would be at Boston for the Ford 200, the fourth annual running of this race. Jalen Scranton would be on the pole for this one, his first pole in quite a while. Jalen Scranton's been pretty quiet the last couple of seasons. He is on the pole. Alongside him was Nick Black, Mike Oppenheimer starting third, Carson Crompton fourth, and Jerry Richardson qualifies in the fifth position. That's surprising to see Jerry Richardson up at the front for the unnamed team. And he's currently running in third, as the two guys on the outside are going to fall back just a little bit and allow him to get into third. Here's Ike Durbin. Terrible wreck last weekend at Livonia, and it's great to see him back in the car. He did injure his foot, but it seems like it's not affecting him too much as he's running up in the top 10. Here's Chad Lipinski, the winner here in 2010. Chad Lipinski has had a pretty up and down career, and he is back at the front here at Boston. He should be a real threat to win this race, and we'll see what the 18 car can do as this one goes on. The winner here last year was Casey Lester in the number 87. He started in the middle of the pack and was actually fading pretty quickly at the beginning of the race. Casey Lester, though, should always be a threat here at Boston. Dominated the race last year along with his teammate Tommy Richer, and remember, this is when he got hot last season and took over the point lead at the time. Tyler Deefer, the winner at Livonia, started up in the front of the field. He's running in the top 10 right now, passing Jerry Richardson. And Tyler Deefer, I'm definitely looking to build on the success that he had last week at Livonia. Here's Alex Yates going for second on Mike Oppenheimer. Will Legge sits in fourth, and I believe that is the 10 of Brian Hensler in fifth. Oppenheimer slides up the racetrack. He's going to lose at least this position, probably more, as Will Legge is right on the back bumper of the one car. And down into turn number one, Oppenheimer slides up a little bit more, and he is going to lose a couple positions here at the beginning of the Ford 200. Jason Miller and Jared Cash have made contact on lap 10. Looks like Blanco got into the 7 car, and, well, thank God they didn't wreck, but the 7 car has some right side damage to that car. 4 laps later, on lap 14, Herb Cilantro and Barry Juveno get together. Juveno in the infield up the racetrack. Great job of saving the car for both of them. It does stack up the field a little bit in the back there, but luckily for them, they did not wreck. Great job by those two for saving their cars. I mentioned Chad Lipinski earlier. Here he is going for second on Alex Yates. Chad Lipinski definitely looking to turn his career around. He had a horrible last season, and he is running second right now. Nate Smith, always a threat in these races, has made his way up to the third position and maybe is looking for second. What a move by Nate Smith. Here he comes on Chad Lipinski for the second spot in the big red Volkswagen number 83 car. Nate Smith has slotted himself into second, and it looks like Yates is going to get his spot back from the 18 car. And Voto Motorsports doing very well. The 26 in first, 18 in fourth, and the 15 in fifth. Here's Jonathan Ringer. He felt like he deserved a better finish than he had last week at Livonia. That's pretty much been the story for Ringer's career, but he is running in the fourth position here at Boston, always at the front of the field. Jonathan Ringer, definitely a threat to win the championship this season. He is now running in third, as Nate Smith has gone to the inside of Jalen Scranton in the 26. On lap number 29, Nate Smith working his way on the front straightaway past the 26, and it looks like we were going to have our first lead change of the race on lap number 30, as Nate Smith in the number 83 has gone to the top position, and that is not good for the rest of the field, as Nate Smith probably should have won the championship last season, and it looks like he has not missed a beat so far early in this season. Here's Ross Lowry in the 44, trouble with his car, and on lap number 39, the 44 down on the apron and is going to limp his way back to the pits, and we'll see what comes out of this. Unknown as of right now what is wrong with Ross Lowry in the 44 car, and we'll see what happens with him. Caution 1 is going to fly on lap number 49 for debris, as we see the pace car on track now, as we see the field under the yellow into the pits. The first two have a giant gap over third place Alex Yates. There's the 44 of Lowry. A flat tire on the 44 brought him in, and we see the rest of the field just filing their way down. Literally every single car except for Lowry, who is a couple laps down, is in the pits, and they all make their way into their stalls for service. The 83 gets out in first, barely in front of the 26 of Jalen Scranton, and he will keep the lead. So not really much movement in terms of positions on those pit stops, but on lap 48, the 83 car back in the lead, obviously, and he's got the two yellow cars of Jalen Scranton and Alex Yates right behind him. Jonathan Ringer sitting in fourth, and Todd Bradshaw, Ringer's teammate, sitting in fifth. So Op Inc. having a solid day once again with their cars in fourth and fifth, and I'm pretty sure we saw Oppenheimer up at the front early in this one. Looks like he has fallen back just a bit, as we see the one car of Alex Yates has made his way to second, passing the Dollar General Buick of Jalen Scranton, and Herb Cilantro on the restart makes his way into the pits. Maybe some damage or something from earlier when he got into Barry Juveno. But the 42 car comes down for service. As the green flag flies, he's going to lose a couple laps because of it. Here's Jonathan Ringer making his way into third. Nick Black right behind him in the 38 car. And Black obviously won last year at Seattle. And with CS Motorsports, he's looking to just continue what he had going last season. And he is currently doing that thus far here at Boston, as we see another lead change possibly happening, as Alex Yates is to the inside of the 83 and off turn number 2. Looks like he's going to take the lead. Nick Black has slotted himself into third behind his teammate Nate Smith, and Yates is your new leader in the one car. Yates, he should have won a couple races last year, but he's just had some terrible luck in this series. So I know particularly last year he was running second in this race and ran out of fuel at the end. Lap 64, our second caution of the day, is going to fly as Ike Durbin has been turned into the outside wall by two Renesi cars of Tyler Diefer and Casey Lester. And the 55 goes into the outside wall. And he is going to continue on, but some pretty, I mean, it's not too bad damage for the 55 car, but Ike Durbin's definitely going to take a hit. That is going to take a hit out of his day in that 5-gum Volkswagen. Under this caution, it looks like the entire field's going to come back down into the pits. I'm not entirely sure why, but I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. The entire field is down into the pits. Alex Yates has led them in, and he will lead them off as well. As we see, there's not too much shuffling in the running order. And on lap 69, the one car would lead the field down to the green. Nick Black, of course, in second, and Nate Smith, his teammate, running third. And it looks like Herb Cilantro, one of the lap cars, him and Ross Lowry were the two lap cars, but Herb Cilantro did hinder the 38 car a little bit there, and that allows Nate Smith, his teammate, to get around him, and he'll take Jonathan Ringer in that number 0 with him. So down into turn number 1, it looks like Black is going to wash up the racetrack a little bit more, and the 15 of Will Legge is also going to get by the 38 car. Now these guys will look to track down the 1 of Alex Yates, who's checked out a little bit here. Lap 72, big crashes the 2 car of Tommy Richer, barrel rolling down the front straightaway, and shades of Jorge Hernandez here as the 2 car lands on all fours and comes to rest in turn number 1, as we see the 19, the 82, and the 03 all involved. That's Brad Simmons, Todd Kinson, and Alan Reeds all involved in this one. Carson Crompton looks like he got into the, I believe it was the 19, he got into the 82, and then into Simmons they go, and the 2 car goes barrel rolling down the front straightaway. Very reminiscent of Jorge Hernandez's 2010 wreck, which was definitely worse, but still a scary ride for Tommy Richer. He was okay, walked out of the car, and I believe he was the only one to retire from this wreck. I could be wrong there, but a very scary wreck for Tommy Richer and all the others involved. Under this caution, it looks like half the field is going to come into the pits, and half the field won't. And some of these guys faking that they're coming into the pits, including Jeff Parshall and Jalen Scranton. Scranton gets turned by DeCario, and Parshall merges right into Chad Lipinski and takes himself out of the race. So tough break for the 46 of Jeff Parshall, who's been known to make some pretty dumb decisions on the racetrack. Here's the 83 of Nate Smith leading on the restart. Todd Bradshaw is going to look underneath the 83 now. Sean Glossom sitting third, Cody Lochner fourth, and Michael Carter in the fifth position. And it looks like Bradshaw is going to get around the 83 quite easily, and he's going to take Glossom with him. So Glossom in his second start with JN Motorsports finished ninth, of course, in the first one, and he's looking to back that up as here he is running second. His teammate Michael Carter running fifth. So JN Motorsports proving that this is one of their better tracks, as it always has been, and running second and fifth, as Sean Glossom in only his second start with JN running second in the number 9 Giant Tiger Dodge. But that wouldn't last too long, as here comes Nate Smith back to the inside of him. He's going to take Cody Lochner with him, and those two will go under the 9 car. The 39 of Michael Carter is going to follow underneath as well, and the 34 car of Cody Lochner is actually going to look underneath the 83 as well as the 83. There's just a lot of shuffling here for second position, and this is allowing Todd Bradshaw to get a pretty decent-sized lead in that number 98 car. Todd Bradshaw, always fast in this series. Lap 83, Brad Simmons, who's involved in the last wreck, gets turned by Will Legge, and down the racetrack goes the 03 car, and luckily does not get hit. But Brad Simmons definitely living up to his name, and that is not retiring when he should, as Brad Simmons has done many times in his career. He probably should get off the racetrack, but decides to continue running laps very slow instead, as we've been watching the restart, as Cody Lochner is going to fall back to third, as Sean Glossom quickly looked to the inside of him. Lochner is actually going to fall back maybe to around 6th, as here comes the 83 past him, and Michael Carter should be getting underneath him as well. Here is Jerry Richardson, a giant pack, as Brad Simmons has squeezed the pack together, and a giant wreck on the front straightaway on lap number 90 is going to throw our 5th caution of the race out, as we see about 7 cars involved in this one. It's just a chain reaction. Brad Simmons holds up this entire pack. Brad Curtis involved, Nick Black, Jerry Richardson, and we're going to have to get another look at this one. Chad Lipinski is involved, Tim Averill and Ricardo Blanco, all involved in this sizable wreck on the front straightaway. Let's go on board Averill here. Oh, he just has nowhere to go. Tim Averill gets... I mean, he didn't really get that big of a chunk of the wreck, but that is definitely going to slow down the Stanley Tools Volkswagen. Under the yellow, it looks like Alan Reeds was slow, and Michael Carter has taken himself out of the race. Josh Mertz and Jonathan Ringer also pile in there as well, and I don't know what he was doing, and it looks like the 19 was just... He just had nowhere to go. The 19 was just in his way, and it takes out a couple good cars in the process. So the 39, the 0, and the 8 look like they're all done under the yellow because of a pretty questionable decision by Alan Reeds. I don't know what just went on there, but it's definitely not good for the people involved, as on the restart, the 83 of Nate Smith is all over the back bumper of Todd Bradshaw down the front straightaway, and we're going to have another yellow. Lap 103, the 44 of Ross Lowry gets hit by Todd Kinsen, and that is going to throw the yellow out once again, as Tyler Deefer turns someone else in this race. So Deefer not living up to that Livonia hype, as the 44 and 82 get together after the 44 spins. That is going to take Todd Kinsen out of his misery. He's been involved in a couple accidents today, and the 82 car will retire after that one. On the restart, lap 108, the 98 car is still in the lead. Nate Smith is hanging right there with him. We saw Smith all over the back bumper of the 98 before that yellow flew, but on the restart, it looks like he'll be right there once again. Here's Jack Walter, who's made his way up into the top 5. He's running 4th in that Netflix Chevrolet. Great rebound from him. He started in the back. Mike Oppenheimer also fell back, and he is back up in the front. And Casey Lester, we mentioned at the very beginning, was falling way back, and he was involved in a wreck, and he is now running in the top 10 along with Carson Crompton, who was in the back as well. As here we see lap traffic playing a bit of a role here, as Chad Lipinski got in the way of Nate Smith in the 83 car. This allows Todd Bradshaw to hit a pretty big lead. We see Crompton and Oppenheimer have entered the picture, and they will be looking to capitalize on that mistake. Lap 126, Jared Cash almost makes contact with the 14 of Kenny Gerald's. Great job by Gerald to get out of the way after the 7 and the 09 made contact off turn number 4. Luckily, they save it, and we'll continue on. It looks like Lester's dropped back a little bit, but one guy who has not dropped back is the 84 of Carson Crompton, who's been making a late race charge. We saw him up in the top. We saw him way in the back, and now he's up in the top 5. And Carson Crompton definitely has a fast race car, getting by his teammate Nate Smith. So it's Opinc 1-2, CS Motorsports 3-4, and then we have Sean Glossum running in 5th, and maybe it could have been 5-6 had his teammate Michael Carter not ran into the back of Alan Reed's number 19 car. As we see Todd Bradshaw continuing to pace the field down the back straightaway into turn number 3. The laps are ticking down for Todd Bradshaw, and he is still looking for that first career win. As we see Nick Black has merged up into the field, and on lap 131 we have another caution. Nick Black completely just avoiding any rules of merging, and gets into Tyler D for Barry Juveno, goes for a slight spin, and Herb Cilantro was also caught up in this one. But Juveno definitely takes probably the biggest hit out of all of these guys, as Cilantro gets a bit of damage as well. But this is definitely going to hurt Juveno, who is starting to rebound from... he wasn't running too well early on in the race. He was starting to rebound, but that's going to definitely take a hit on that. Lap 135, the 98 continuing to lead on the restart. Mike Oppenheimer, his teammate, running in 2nd. Then we have the 2 CS cars, 3rd and 4th. Make that 2nd and 4th, maybe 2nd and 5th, as the 84 of Carson Crompton is going to get around Mike Oppenheimer, and the 83 of Nate Smith is going to get passed by Sean Glossum. These 5 continuing to break away from the pack, but the 83, the 9, and the 98 have been up there all race long, and they're continuing to do that so far as the laps continue to wind down. The 9 car slotting into the 4th position. He's maybe going to get 3rd, as Mike Oppenheimer is going to slow up just enough for the 9 car to get underneath him, and the Giant Tiger Dodge goes around the STP Dodge. And Glossum looking for more. Here he comes on Carson Crompton in the 84, a late race charge maybe from the 9 car of Sean Glossum. We're just over 10 laps to go, and the 9 car, he has won a race in every single season that he's been up in the AERS, and maybe today's the day he continues on that streak, as here he comes into the 2nd position and begins to chase down Todd Bradshaw in the number 98, who has led the most laps in this one. But Mike Oppenheimer may have a say in that. Here he comes around the 84 car, and doesn't look like he can get it off turn number 4. Maybe he won't get it at all, as the 84 is just too strong, and the 99 will slot back in the 4th position. 9 laps to go, lap 141. Here comes Sean Glossum to the inside of Todd Bradshaw, and this is probably the first time anyone's passed Bradshaw from the lead all race long, and Sean Glossum goes to the lead in the number 9 car for JN Motorsports, who did not win a race last season. So JN Motorsports looking for their first win since 2012, and the 9 car looking to do that here with just under 10 laps to go. The 84 car of Carson Crompton is going to be right on his tail, though, as he gets around the 98 of Todd Bradshaw. Bradshaw way up the racetrack. His teammate Mike Oppenheimer is going to follow into 3rd. We see the 38 of Nick Black in the pits. He was running up at the front earlier. He has continued to drop since wrecking just a couple of laps ago. Sean Glossum, though, out to a giant lead, and off turn number 4 takes the white flag. Sean Glossum, in only his 2nd start for JN Motorsports, has got this one in the bag if he can just hold on to it for one more lap. He's got Tim Averill in the number 75 Stanley Tools Volkswagen in front of him, who's awfully slow after getting a bit of damage and a couple cautions ago. Off turn number 4, Sean Glossum is going to take another win. He wins the Ford 200 at Boston. JM Motorsports' first win since 2012. Congratulations to Sean Glossum, the winner of the Ford 200 in his number 9 Giant Tiger Dodge, as he does burnouts on the front straightaway. Sean Glossum will also take the points lead 2 races in, so a very healthy start for Sean Glossum at his new team, JN Motorsports. So Glossum takes the victory. Mike Oppenheimer finishes 2nd. Great run for Opinc as they finish 2-3. Oppenheimer 2nd and Bradshaw 3rd. CS Motorsports will finish 4-5. Carson Crompton, great race Late race charge for him as he finishes 4th. Nate Smith probably should have finished 2nd or 1st. He was up there at the front all race long. He finishes in the 5th position. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Cody Lochner finishes 6th in the number 34. Great run from him. Jalen Scranton 7th. Jack Walter finishes in the 8th position. Great run from him. 9th was Alex Jates. He led a pretty good majority of this race. And Kent Grosso. Where did Kent Grosso come from? Kent Grosso, we didn't say his name once all race, and he will finish in the 10th position in that number 6 car. Great run for him in the Keith Davis entry, and that team is proving to be the little engine that could as they just keep on going. Remember Ted Hendricks in the 02 a couple seasons ago. He was also like this at the beginning of the season, but he tended to kind of fall off as the season went on, so we'll see if Kent Grosso can continue his high performance early on in this season. Here are the point standings. As Sean Glasson, we mentioned, is your point leader. He's got a JN Motorsports teammate, Justin Bazzani, in 4th. Cody Lochner and Tyler D for the 2 Renesi teammates, 2nd and 3rd in the point standings. Mac DiCario, our defending champion, is 5th in the standings. I don't think we saw him once all race. Jalen Scranton is 6th in the standings after finishing back in the 40s last year. I believe 46th was his final position in the standings last season. Keith Davis is 7th. Todd Bradshaw 8th, 81 points out. The 87 of Casey Lester has been very consistent as he has been his career. He is in 9th, 83 points behind. And Jack Walter sits 10th, 87 points behind in his number 91 Netflix Chevrolet. And the points looking very tight already. Sean Glossom has the early advantage. And we'll see how this points progression continues to progress throughout our season here in the Amp Energy Racing Series. Next week we will head to Delaware. The short track will host the Aflac 250. The defending winner was Casey Lester. We'll see if he can get back there, but we'll see you then at Delaware. It should be a fantastic event.